Now we are on to Universal Credit. Soaring above this week's top stories, I'm free flying with... My guest on today's podcast is the head of a very special, for me, trade union because it represents people not often accommodated by other trade unions. And what they also have going on at the moment is a very, very important campaign that is not only close to my heart, but also very close, it has to be said, to my blood pressure as well. It is around a certain Department for Work and Pensions benefit, and they have got a fantastic and very, very important survey currently live, which they want people to fill in. So I'm very pleased to introduce on this week's ToppleUncaged fantastic guest. It is Liane Groves from the brilliant the brilliant trade union Unite Community. Liane, thank you so much for coming on the podcast to talk about this. It's really good to have you on, actually.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So, to start off with, just for listeners at home, if they don't know, what is Unite Community? Tell me about it and why it was formed.
Okay, Unite Community was set up about 6 years ago, and the whole reason behind community is to get people that are outside of a normal workplace into the trade union movement and provide the solidarity and the values that trade unions have, and offer that to people that are not in a paid job. So Unite Community members can be retired, students, unemployed, people with disabilities, volunteers, are all now welcome to come and join Unite and be part of the trade union family.
I think it's excellent. Ever since I saw its inception, I thought it was an absolutely brilliant idea. I mean, and you've got a lot of branches now, haven't you, actually, it has to be said. I mean, I've got one locally in Bromley, obviously. Roughly how many are there now across the country that people can get involved with?
And we organise in about 120 branches across the UK, and we're very much a bottom-up organisation, and it's up to our branches what they want to do in terms of campaigning. So, you know, our branches will get involved in saving local NHS services, saving a local library, but I suppose the main focus of the work that we do has been trying to campaign against the awful benefit changes that both the coalition and this Tory government have introduced, which, I mean, as you know, have absolutely hammered people that are claiming. So, yeah, we've been campaigning for about 6 years now.
You have indeed, and that is exactly what we're here to talk about today, actually, because we are here to talk about universal credit, the controversial welfare reform, to quote government words, not mine. Reform indicates that it should be something good. The controversial government reform to the welfare system, which is rolling around 6 benefits into one. It has been marred by controversy since its launch back in 2013, and it just goes from self-induced crisis to self-induced crisis. Obviously, we all know the horror stories surrounding universal credit, but Unite Community are being extremely active on universal credit and have lots of things and actions going on. One of those is something you did last year, and you're repeating it this year, which is a survey of claimants for universal credit, that anyone who is getting the benefit can get involved in and complete this survey. Just tell me a bit about the survey, why you launched it last year, and why you've brought it back again this year for people to take part in.
Okay. Well, the survey came about because a Unite Community member had the idea. So the community member came to me and said, well, we're going to do this in our area, which is Derby. How would Unite feel about doing this nationally? And I'm always up for members giving us good ideas. So that's what we decided to do. We have national days of action against universal credit. We've had 2, and we're going to have another one in August, which I'll tell you about later. So thanks to your listeners and your readers and the help you gave in highlighting our survey last year, we had over 1,000 people do the online survey, which was amazing.
That's excellent, yeah.
So what we did was we released the results of that survey when we had our last day of action in December. And, you know, the theme of the December is, you know, Christmas is coming, and Christmas was cancelled for, you know, tens of thousands of families who couldn't afford to buy, presents for their kids, afford Christmas dinners and all that sort of thing. So we press released the results of the survey, and we got some excellent press coverage in local newspapers all over the UK. The Daily Mirror did a really good show of our survey. But of course the DWP just completely dismissed the survey results. And they said, no, not true. The people are telling us that universal credit is amazing. There aren't any problems. Don't listen to Unite. So obviously, we want to challenge that. And also we decided to run the survey again because people still don't know enough about universal credit. So what Unite's policy is we want to stop and scrap universal credit. But in the meantime, while we have this Tory government that seem to be hell-bent on implementing universal credit, we've got to do what we can to try and mitigate some of the worst aspects of universal credit. So we thought what we can do is we'll do the survey again, hopefully get even more people to fill it in, and then we've got evidence of what a disaster it is. They can't just ignore us if we've got thousands of people telling us exactly what their life experience is on universal credit.
In conjunction with that, you've got another day of action in August, haven't you? Briefly tell us what's going to be coming up this year from Unite Community on that day of action.
Yeah, so the day of action is going to be on the 1st of August on a Thursday, and it's the beginning of the school holiday season, school holidays. So our theme this year is going to be about school holiday hunger. And you probably, a lot of your listeners and readers will know that teachers at the moment are funding food for kids. I think 1 in 4 teachers are using their own personal money to provide food for children in our schools. 5th richest country in the world, and school children are going to school hungry. But of course the worst thing is that during the school holiday period, families can't afford to, the kids aren't getting their free school meals. So there's this terrible issue of holiday hunger. So we want to highlight the fact that universal credit is causing holiday hunger with children. So we had some campaign planning meeting at the weekend with some of our members, and our branches are going to be coming up with some really good creative campaigning ideas to try and highlight this holiday hunger. Empty lunch boxes, empty fridges, empty cupboards, to really try and demonstrate to ordinary people, this is the direct consequences of Tory welfare policy, that children are going hungry in this country during school holidays. So we're linking the next survey. We'll be publishing the results of the survey and at the same time highlighting holiday hunger. So that's what we're doing.
That's absolutely, that's fantastic. And the sort of empty lunchbox idea is extremely stark way of highlighting exactly what is going on in this country. That's all brilliant. Obviously, to get involved with this, people can take part in the survey if they're on universal credit. What else would you like listeners to be doing in the meantime surrounding universal credit, and how can they support Unite Community and what you are trying to do?
Yeah, well, we would love people that are not in a paid job. You can come and join Unite Community and you can get involved in the campaign, which would be absolutely brilliant. If you can share the link where people can do that. It costs 55 pence a week, and I know that's expensive if you have no money, and I know that that's the cost of a meal, but it's worth getting involved and being part of an organisation that is fighting back. I think a lot of people out there are depressed, and they feel powerless. I think what Unite Community offers is empowerment. Come and be part of an organisation that is fighting back, and your voice will be heard through Unite Community. The other thing I would say is the Tories have to be told what is going on. So I get a lot of people emailing me every week about their experiences of universal credit, and I say to them, tell your MP, because if your MP happens to be a Tory, they need to know the consequences of universal credit. They can't hide behind their own PR. So email your MP, write to your MP, go down to their surgery and tell them your story. I mean, I can tell you one really depressing part of my job is that the people that email me every week, I would say I get 3 people a week that are suicidal. So on my desk at work, I've got the phone number of the Samaritans, and I'm giving that phone number out to a few people every single week. And this is a direct result of their benefits being cut, them losing their homes, their lives being going from normal to on the floor because of the results of universal credit. So, you know, Unite and with other organisations, we need to do everything we can to stop the Tories rolling out universal credit any further and improving what they're doing at the moment. Until we can get a Corbyn government in that's going to get rid of universal credit and that's going to introduce a decent, fair welfare system, we have got to tell these Tories enough is enough.
Absolutely, that's the best way to sum it up, I think. And I've always been a fan of Unite Community, and I was on welfare myself for many years. And if it had existed when I was at the hands of the DWP, I would have been a member. It is a very worthwhile and very efficient organisation in what it does. So all the details to everything that we have discussed on today's podcast will be in the show notes. As I say, I would urge people on Universal Credit to take this survey. It only takes a few minutes, and the information that you submit is extremely important in what Unite Community are doing. For the minutes, Liane, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It is really, really appreciated, and keep up the excellent work.
Yeah, and thanks for your help in getting that survey out there. Thank you.
My absolute pleasure.